CM Punk's next pay-per-view match is revealed, the Bloodline plans leaked, a major star has a return date, and more. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive videos over on our Patreon.
The Bloodline and their wars continue to be one of WWE's biggest drawing angles and storylines. This past Friday SmackDown continued its ratings trend, pulling in 2.2 million viewers once again to see Jacob Fatu absolutely destroy Roman Reigns and make him do this face. The Bloodline are now 3 for 3 on great meme faces. This one, Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam, and The Rock at WrestleMania, the undisputed kings. Since Solo Sikoa launched his own Bloodline group of Jacob Fatu and the Gorillas of Destiny, fans have speculated that we could be heading towards a War Games match at Survivor Series in November, with Roman reuniting with the Usos and Sami Zayn in an OG Bloodline versus Bloodline 2000 War. And it would appear that is the case. PWN are reporting that this is the current creative direction for the Bloodline, but the only thing that isn't clear as to whether this is going to be 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. There have been reports saying that Hikuleo is heading to WWE, so he could join either side, and some fans are speculating that Cody Rhodes himself could align with Roman and crew for just one night. And speaking of War Games, this is reportedly the time we'll see the return of Charlotte Flair. Flair went down with a serious knee injury 2 weeks after last year's Survivor Series in a match with Asuka, and Flair has been teasing a return to the ring as of late on social media. And according to Viper on PWN's Discord, November is the planned timetable return for Flair in the ring, which would be just in time for War Games. Flair will reportedly join the SmackDown brand alongside her IRL husband Andrade. How would you book the return of Charlotte Flair? Let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of future pay-per-view plans, we may now have a complete roadmap for the feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. We'll have more on this in the Raw review, but it was officially confirmed that Punk and Drew will square off again at Bash in Berlin, and this time it will be a strap match. And now Worked Wrestling have posted on Twitter that this is just the second of 3 planned matches, with the final taking place at Bad Blood in a Hell in a Cell match, which really has been speculated by fans as soon as WWE announced they were bringing that pay-per-view name back. The last Bad Blood in 2011 saw Summer of Punk ruiners Triple H and Kevin Nash face off, but the more iconic one is the 1997 show, which had the first Hell in a Cell between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and also saw the debut of Kane. Hilariously, it's also the match type that Punk said he didn't want to do at the Clash in the Castle press conference. We don't have our American correspondent here with us today, but before we do get into the Raw review, here is a word from this episode's sponsor.
Hacking. Yes, I'm gonna hack into the mainframe. Damn, what's this? Some kind of firewall. I'll hack my way through. And wait, it's not working. No. Stupid sexy Luke, always getting in my way.
Hey Luke, what's up?
Oh, I'm just trying to hack into the WrestleTalk YouTube channel. I've forgotten my password.
Why don't you just click forgot my password?
You would say that. You always say that. Only a baby would say that.
I'm not a baby. Why do people keep saying that I'm a baby?
Then why are you holding a baby phone, baby?
I knew this wasn't my phone.
See? Told you, you big baby.
You're the real baby. You haven't even realized that the reason you can't hack in is because we use Surfshark.
Surfshark?
Yes, Surfshark. You can protect your online privacy, watch content from across the world, and stop pesky hackers from hacking into your mainframe with Surfshark VPN. Secure your privacy with Surfshark with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you can try it at no risk. Enter coupon code WrestleTalk for 4 months extra at surfshark.deals/WrestleTalk. Link in the description.
Wow, thanks, Pete.
Yep, just click forgot your password. You're not going to get anywhere with hacking, and then you can go on the rest of the internet worry-free.
Nah, don't worry. I'm going to continue hacking. I'm going to see how far I can get.
Hacking. We have a problem.
And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka the, pretty missable episode edition of Monday Night Raw, in about 5 minutes. The show opened with Randy Orton, who said that he just wanted this to be about the World Championship, but Gunther made it personal by bringing up his family. Gunther came out to get some fantastic heat from this crowd along with USA chants, and Ludwig Kaiser attacked Orton from behind. Though he managed to fight him off briefly, the numbers game took over and the heel stood tall. It turns out that Randy Orton isn't the only one who can strike from behind. This was a fine opening segment that set up the show's main event of Orton versus Kaiser. It was your typical 2 weeks out from the pay-per-view angle. Sheamus beat Pete Dunne in a very good and physical match with a very creative finish. Dunne had targeted Sheamus' hand all match after attacking it with the shillelagh last week, so he wrapped it in the corner turnbuckle, and while the referee argued with Pete Dunne about this, Sheamus ripped his hand free and ran across the ring to hit a bro kick from out of nowhere for the win. And I hope you enjoyed that bit of wrestling, because you're not going to get a lot more of it for a bit. We had Kofi Kingston backstage checking on why Xavier Woods has been a bit off as of late. Gee, I wonder why, Kofi? Is it because you made plans behind his back to bring in a new member to your group and then took the mic out of his hands last week to talk over him? Woods brought all of this up, and Kofi explained that they weren't given a chance to get over 10 years ago when the group formed, and Odyssey Jones wasn't being given a chance either. Woods, realizing that maybe he's overreacting, made peace with Kofi for their trios match later on. We got a recap of WWE at Fanatics Fest and a video promo for Bron Breakker talking about why he's awesome. Then we got a recap of Ivy Nile turning heel last week, then a backstage promo of her being officially welcomed into American Made. And then she had a match with Maxine Dupree that really didn't get started as the lights ka-chunked around it and Abby the Witch appeared in the ring for a no contest. Maxine disappeared as the rest of American Males got in the ring to protect Ivy Nile, but the rest of the Wyatts appeared around the ring and cleared house, with Uncle Howdy hitting Chad Gable with another Sister Abigail. They announced later in the night that Howdy and Gable will clash on next week's Raw in Uncle Howdy's first match and Bo Dallas's first match in about 5 years. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley cut a promo on Not Street Trash. Triple H is reading your tweets and saw that you did not like that name, and CM Punk came out for more talking. It's no secret that I've really enjoyed the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud. Just a few weeks ago, I was saying that it was WWE's feud of the year. Look, I know that some people don't like that it's about a bracelet and you make the argument of, if this was AEW, you'd hate it, but I think the emotions and physicality between the two has been great, and I really enjoyed their SummerSlam match. But well, this was kind of a nothing segment. Punk came out to talk about sports teams, about being gone for 10 years, how the WWE is a hot product at the moment, how the fans are great, etc, etc. And he also announced that he and Drew will have a strap match, a violent match where two men are tied together with nowhere to run, and you win the match by touching all four corners. This rivalry's heating up now. Now they're touching corners. Jokes aside, this is a good next step for the feud. Yes, the four corners thing is lame, but the idea of Punk and Drew being tied together is thematically rather nice. The problem is that these two men have been feuding since January, arguably earlier than that, and they've pretty much said that, well, they said all there is to say. We don't want you here. You're a cancer. I've been gone for 10 years. You're obsessed with me. You're a liar and a hypocrite. This is why this bracelet means a lot to me. I think Larry and April will be safer with me. And this segment kind of encapsulated a lot of that. The segment had a hotline to end, but the crowd didn't react because, well, they've heard it all before. This is still a great feud, but it might need something a little bit different to keep it a hot feud. And if you liked all that talking, Dom and Liv then cut a promo on the Terror Twins. Finally, some wrestling took place as Odyssey Jones teamed with the New Day to take on the Final Testament. Woods looked for the hot tag, but Kofi tagged in Jones instead, who ran wild and won it for their team. Rhea and Priest discussed his match with Dominic Mysterio backstage and said that they knew it's a trap, but it was worth it to get his hands on Dom. Bronson Reed beat The Miz in a glorified squash match with a no DQ stipulation, which I think is Triple H's kryptonite, and Reed won with the Tsunami. He was about to hit another one, but boom, and came down for a stare down, and they'll have a match next week. The feud between Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus will continue, and Bron Breakker revealed that a tournament kicks off next week to crown a new #1 contender to his IC title. He channeled his inner Scotty by calling himself a genetic freak, and his inner Snitsky by saying that beating people up is not his fault. Jey Uso later announced that he'll be focusing on singles divisions again and will enter into the IC title tournament. Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest had a match which had DQ written all over it, but you can't have a DQ if the match doesn't start. Judgment Day jumped Priest before the bell and he took them all out. Rhea then took Dom out of the ring and was about to put him through the announcer's table when Liv Morgan made the save. The numbers got the better of the Terror Twins and Judgment Day finally stood tall over them. This was a very good angle and it was great to see new Judgment Day get some of their heat back. The Unholy Union, unsurprisingly because they've set up a tag defense against another team, retained their tag titles over Damage Control and Pure Fusion Collective, who I'm pretty sure tried to buy WCW in 2001. The entrances got little reaction, but the action certainly did, as it was a really good match. The finish saw Shayna Baszler get in the Kirifuda clutch on Kairi Sane, and Isla Dawn hit a backstabber on Baszler, and Kaylee Ray hit a Swanton Bomb onto all of them for the win. A very cool finish, and now the obligatory, this was your only women's match on the show, do better WWE. And the main event saw Randy Orton beat Ludwig Kaiser in a match which you can picture beat for beat with your eyes closed. He brawled with Gunther after the match, and it capped off a very skippable episode of Monday Night Raw. Nothing bad, but not a lot great either. Now please do go and watch my video about the disappointing history of Neil Blomkamp's failed Alien 5 movie and why it did not get made in the latest episode of Cutscene. A huge thank you to everyone who has checked it out over the weekend, but I really would appreciate it if all of you could click the video on screen right now, because it will help it fall into the almighty YouTube algorithm, which I have zero control over.